Hello. Welcome in, everybody. March 4th, 2026, Wagers on Weekdays show with yours truly, Xander B. Happy to have you in on a Wednesday evening. Beautiful here in Nashville, Tennessee. That little rodent can eat his words. Knock on wood, but it seems like spring has sprung. And we're approaching some of the best times of the year. Mainly just kicking winter out. Hope you're experiencing the same. Very exciting week. Added another badge to our what do you call it? Sash of winning. Maybe we should make like a Eagle Scout sash for all the outrights we're hitting this season. That would actually be kind of funny. And keep adding little badges. Exciting. Very exciting week. Traveling back, watching the tournament on the plane. Crazy technology, but there was fireworks at the end when it looked like a pretty dead tournament. So we'll talk about Cognizant. Of course, we have this week's Dream Foursome pairing. Still with the spring training theme, we're going to talk about the positional players this time around. Interesting group from me, for sure. But I mean, the pool is so large that you'd be hard pressed to find someone with the same pairing for any particular reason. And then we'll talk about a few stories that happened over the weekend, combine news, and we'll preview the Arnold Palmer Invitational, one of my favorite events of the season. Bay Hill, such an interesting course. Just love Arnie as a whole. And the course can have some teeth. It really can. But it looks like we might be in for a beautiful week of weather. So we'll get to that later. Before we start the show, dive into a couple recaps. Just a brief little synopsis as this broke when we're about to start recording. R.I.P. Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz passed away at the age of 89. Obviously, most known for his time at Notre Dame in the 80s and 90s. And then following that, a brief stint with South Carolina, but a polarizing stint at ESPN with Mark May, Reese Davis in the studio. Assume most of you that are listening are in the same age group. That's how we were getting all of our recaps. Everything wasn't so readily available, and College Game Day on repeat would just be on Saturday nights and throughout the day. Sad. Didn't really follow Lou that much. Not a Notre Dame guy. Obviously made a lot of news recently in these recent years. Coming after Ryan Day. Wasn't a big fan, but it's not why we're talking about him. The man passed. Nothing nasty to say about him. He's a legendary coach. Came up cutting his teeth at Arkansas and made them a winning program while he was there. 60-21. I'm not sure many would know that trivia of Lou. And that was in the 70s. So, legend of the college football game. We'll miss you, Lou. Sad day. I will say that I don't know if it's like through your own eyes type situation, or maybe there's a scientific, but only seeing 89. I mean, it feels like he's had the same look for about 25 years, maybe a little longer than that. Just got to his final age 30 years ago and has just ridden that out. I don't know about you, but I mean, this guy hollering at Mark May seemed like he was in his 80s already. And we're in the year 2026. He was on that show in 2005. So that was just something of note when I saw the age of passing. R.I.P. Sweet Lou. Sure, there'll be a lot of tributes in the coming days. especially as the last coach to win a national title for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So look forward to seeing a lot of that college football nostalgia. As we move on, we had a full-on choke at the Cognizant, and we strike gold from it. First, we'll cover Lowry. As you see on the screen here, this is coming off a double bogey. He got hit with the bear trap. We were in attendance there 2 years ago. It's an extremely tough green, and that's not with Sunday pins. Unreal hole. Love these type of challenging holes towards the end of tournaments for this exact reason. You know, you have the benefit of leading a tournament and finally being able to breathe when you can walk up 18 fairway, or 18 green, I should say. Not when you're walking up like 14. Courses should be challenging to end, especially courses that want to stay as tournament courses. And I think this is a perfect reason why PGA National and the Bear Trap should stay on board for future seasons, whether it be end of February or push it to after the Masters, like they're doing with Doral in the Cadillac Championship. But if you take away Lowry and Echeverria, I mean, we have a final scoreboard of -10 was T9. And Brooks Koepka got up there with his very own Scotty Scheffler-esque round. Started off +3. This was a full event. Not going to cut it, pal. And just goes -5, -2, -6. But yeah, we had T9 was 10 under. And then T13 was 9 under. Basically, T7 was T20. Or I'm sorry, -7 was T20. That's what we were looking more out of. You know, there were some people that could score, but there was people that were finding a lot of trouble as well. Echeverria ends up hitting. You know, with someone's despair comes another person's triumph. We had Echeverria at 60-1. Nice. And he started off hot. Round 1 shoots 63, but round 2 levels out with a 72. Tough. Very tough. And back-to-back weekend 66s with bogey free on Sunday. The turn of this event, I mean, if you're following golf, you know, whether or not you're watching everyone, I'd say it's worth keeping an eye out every week. Because in real time, we have Shane Lowry doubling 15. I'm sorry, doubling 16, par 4. He hits iron off the tee and cold shanks it. Has to drop 300 yards away from the hole. And he's got a layup. This is a par 4. Puts that into the bunker, hits a miraculous shot to get up and down for double. But that ties him with Echeverria going into 17. Echeverria is one group ahead of him. He's on the tee waiting, kind of hearing the murmurs behind him. He hits a only thing you can call this is like a thank your lucky stars ball. He's a cutter of the golf ball. If you know 17, the right green shape follows the water. And it gets further away from land as the pin is further back. And man, did he start this off just enough left, because this cut turned into a little bit of a slice with that wind. It bounces in the fringe and then lands 2 feet ahead of that, stops on a dime. He's got 10 feet for birdie below the hole. I mean, you're not hitting that shot more than once out of 15 times. even as a professional, to where this ball landed up from that pin and that wind. And that's how you need to win golf tournaments. And Lowry had his lucky share for sure, dropping 40 footers for par, 30 footers for birdie after that, bailing out on some holes. Like he just doesn't have the closing faculties in at PGA National for whatever reason. Crazy. Have to think that'll always make his card to slay kind of a personal giant. So Nico wins, we cash. Højgaard finishes top 10 for us. We finished up 40 something units. Brings us to up 113 units on the season. Is that good? 113 units. It was March 1st. We haven't even hit a major yet. We're on our third signature event. We've hit 2 non-sigs. And guess what? We got another non-sig to the side of the sig event today. Starting tomorrow, Puerto Rico. Looking forward to it. Great start to the season. But as we've seen in the weeks before that, we get some units on the card there. So up 113 isn't going to retire us for the season. Got to stay strong. Got to keep collecting W's. And hits on Nico are why you don't necessarily just focus on recent form, and you focus on course form. Because he was cut in 3 of the previous 5 events and had 2 top 20s sandwiched in between there. Oh, this dude is the Jekyll and Hyde of golf. Wouldn't be surprised if he's in that little cut window at the signature event this weekend. That's just, how crazy it is. So let's move on. We'll come back to golf later. Great win, folks. I really hope you're tailing. Release those every Wednesday night. Arc full cards, and also just go over them on the show. But if you want to see them, you can follow on YouTube or just follow us on Twitter at XSportsHQ. And you'll see those cards. All right. Draft day. Johnny Manziel. What a weekend for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles broke sporting internet with out of this world performances at the combine. These are linebackers, probably edge rushers after what they did this weekend. Both sub 4.5 40s, both above 6'5" in height, 225, 230. You can't make these guys in a lab. And seeing a lot of draft stocks 2-3. It's best available draft prospects. I have Ohio State having the top 3 prospects in the draft. I think Caleb Downs, there was some, whatever the fuck a potential ACL injury means. There's some negative news coming out of his camp from the medical side. Not that he did anything to his ACL. They're just predicting that his ACL is potentially fried in the future. Okay. Anyway, these are just guys that are going to be playing for 10 to 15 years in the league solidly from day one. I could go out on a limb and say they're all going to be potentially in Canton 20 years from now. Not to mention you have Carnell Tate, so Ohio State might have 4 top 10 draft picks now in the entire draft. Insane. Arvell Reese didn't jump for high jump Sonny Styles just broke the linebacker record. No big deal. 43 and change. So a crazy comparison here. Pull it up for you. How about Sonny Styles right next to Calvin Johnson? 20 years later in the draft, both 6'5". Sonny's 244. Calvin was 239. Calvin Johnson, 40-yard dash was 4.4 flat. Sonny Styles, 4.46. Sonny Styles had a full inch vertical beyond Calvin Johnson, who is, in my opinion, the best wide receiver to ever play the game based on his athletic ability. Now Sonny Styles is Megatron on defense. And that's scary. If you're an offensive line, buckling down, seeing that across from you. Freak of nature. So combine, always a great time of year. NFL draft just a month and change away. Which really makes sense, right? Don't know how that works out. I know everyone wants to have their own pro days at home universities, home events, whatever. You'd think they want to get this started right after March Madness, I guess. Is that what they're postponing the NFL draft for? Is that how that works? So we'll have a lot more covering that. Obviously, more than Ohio State competed in the draft. Taylor Green looked really good. Jacob Rodriguez looked really good. Obviously, Fernando Mendoza is still projected to go number one by a pretty wide margin if you're betting odds. And obviously, that's what we focus on. But 2 and 3 could be interesting, especially with the Jets sitting there at 2. They need help everywhere. Sonny Styles may be able to turn that defensive unit into a next level tier. Not necessarily the worst unit in the league, but you have to think they're looking for offense. Do they go with the second best available quarterback and one of the weakest quarterback classes we've ever seen? We shall see. Boom. NFL stuff gets you all hot and bothered. Great showing. This week, it's our Make Your Golf Foursome pairings. And this week's MLB positional players as we continue through spring training. World Baseball Classic. What was that? World Baseball Classic starts up this week. And we've got, if you remember last week, we did pitchers, Bartolo Colon, Shohei Ohtani, and John Smoltz for my foursome on the golf course. This week, Gemini's feeling a little more generous to my build here. Got me looking a little jacked. We'll get to that in a second. But I wanted to talk about some of the pool that just missed out. And I think for specific reasons, I thought about some of the older players, just to see the truly athletic prowess that they had, because it's a much different game these days. Your Babe Ruths, your Mickey Mantles, Ted Williams. Small aspect was worried about the potential banning from the course, potential harassing cart girls. Different era we'd be bringing them into. Not something you want to get into if you're playing a nice course. Immediate ban. So maybe a Muni conversation here. If we're building a foursome for a Muni, not a Pro-Am, then maybe we take out some of those old boys. A couple other ones in the newer age that just missed out. Wade Boggs, obviously. I mean, guy's a legend. All the stuff he did. Always Sunny as well. Just leaning into the whole story of the flight across the country. Slamming about 1 million beers. Pat the Bat Burrow. Mark Grace. Potentially known assholes, but also hilarious guys. Just missed the cut. Miguel Cabrera. The only thing I was thinking of was a language barrier would be my only issue there. We only have 4 to the carts. So, tough talking in the pro shop. You're already just kind of putting yourself back with guys that don't play golf as much. Now you're asking for a separate cart for an interpreter. It's just not something you really want to, dig into. First impressions at whatever course that we're at. Maybe keeps up walking along, give him a pass inside the ropes here, whatever pro-am we're at. Maybe we could work it out. Miggy can get in there for a third slot. But Miggy just missed. Darryl Strawberry, Doc Gooden, pretty obvious. But I think those guys' party days are behind them, and respectfully so. They certainly knew how to rip it up with the best of them. So I would say those guys were honorable mentions if we could get them in their prime. Could also be an absolute just I don't even know, a quagmire out there on the course if we're getting them in their prime. And then a few sober guys, like a lot of the new guys, just fully Bryce Harper, Mike Trout. Would be solid athletically to the pro-am. Just in awe of the pure talent. But we need birdie juice after birdies. We need open beers in the cart at all time, or seltzer surf sides. And everyone can respectfully pick their own lane. But if I'm only getting one shot at this, certainly not picking the sober guys. Maybe we'll make such a lasting impression that we'll get a sober foursome going out there as a second go around. Maybe we build a all-time foursome, sober foursome. Ugh, woof. It's like building a all-time sweater catalog in place of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit catalog. Just can't cover those up. You just can't. So why don't we get into who I landed on this week for who I want to go out there with me. Interesting group. I'm not sure anyone could have put these 3 together for me. Some of the older guys. None of them playing, none of them active. One is dead. I think maybe our first dead guy in the 4 weeks that we've done this. We've got Bob Uecker. Did play. He did play. Not just a well-known announcer for the Brewers and also Major League, of course. But Uecker, all-time prankster, all-time great vibes guy. He's going to have a ton of stories in there. He's going to be able to keep the conversation and everything moving in a positive way and could bring some athletic ability. We're getting Uecker in his prime. Maybe not today, Uecker. But the all-time story, Bags on You with Drysdale, is if you're unaware of it, please go search that. And it's like a 5-10 minute story, and it is a one of a kind. Tells that story. Bags on You, Drysdale. Unbelievable. So gotta have Uecker. And then Pete Rose. He's got to have some good contact. Let's say right at, managerial days when he's gambling the most. Maybe not towards his later days, moving a little less briskly. So got some athletic ability in the tank. We're ripping bets on the course. And this pro-am needs to be in the summer. I myself, not well versed in the baseball betting game. So having a guy like Rose in the cart, we're going to sprinkle the infield big time. Sprinkling the infield, worry about the golf in between shots, and then boom. We've got our own money-making enterprise with Rosie. And then out of left field, this could be controversial here. Harold Reynolds. Growing up, Reynolds was my Baseball Tonight guy. That was the era I had Baseball Tonight on at the house all the time. Carl Ravitch, John Kruk. These guys, Baseball Tonight was like an hour just ripping through highlights. A great show. Great. You talk about college football final recap. Baseball Tonight. Incredible ESPN programming when it was at its peak. Now, sure, at MLB TV, did he run into a couple of allegations? Who amongst us is perfect? He's back on TV. I believe all allegations were dropped, or there was some sort of settlement reached. Who amongst us? Let's not cast the first stone here. But the Reynolds, just great player, good player, I should say. Athletic. I'm looking for those Baseball Tonight stories. I'm looking for the ESPN stories. Another great storyteller in there and just talking ball. I think he'll be able to help where the other guys might let us down in the golfing aspect. So Bob Uecker, Pete Rose, and Harold Reynolds. This week's Build Your Own Golf Foursome and the MLB positional players. Who would your foursome be for any Pro-Am event in this particular category? I mean, this one would be so few and far in between. So love to hear that. Comment it on the YouTube, on our YouTube page, Act Sports HQ. Love to see just the variety of those pairings that go out. Speaking of pairings, got some pairings going out bright and early tomorrow. So why don't we talk about the Arnold Palmer Invitational? One of my favorites. Let's get it going here. There he is, Arnie in all his glory. Not only a great golfer, a great beverage maker. I mean, Arizona iced tea, holding strong at that 99-cent tall boy can. Is just what American capitalism is built off of. That Arnie Palmy Zero in the white cans, unbeatable. I'll take a pallet to the house, please and thank you. Anyway, we've got a golf tournament to play. Would you believe it if I told you Scotty Scheffler was the favorite here? A little longer than what we saw last time out at Genesis, plus 390. Scotty, followed by Rory, followed by Fleetwood. Seems like the big three for a while here. And then Fitzpatrick. Morikawa, Xander, Matsuyama, Siwoo. Russell Henley, your defending champion, 33-1. Oberg, 38-1. 35-1, whatever. Playing terribly. Stay away. Until you prove it to me. I'm fine missing out on Oberg, but his game is in shambles right now. Can't lay. Cameron Young. Round out. Let's see, top 15 there, betting wise. You start getting into Jake Knapp, Kitayama, former champion here, Victor Hovland, playing well, just not putting it all together. And then Shane Lowry, right there, that 45 number, off a heartbreaking loss, but he's a Florida guy, Jupiter guy, plays well on Bermuda. Less wind this week. Weather for Bay Hill looks great. I'll pull up here and we'll get the shared screen. Please and thank you. Yeah, Thursday, 84. Wind, minimal. 83 on Friday. 40% chance of precipitation for a 2-hour period. And then Saturday and Sunday, beautiful, mid-80s. Wind stays below 10 miles an hour the entire weekend. We're in for perfect golf conditions. Although, with these perfect conditions, you can expect firm fairways and firm greens, something we have not seen at all. Maybe Sony, or maybe not even American Express. Maybe Sony. But we haven't seen it at all this season. Cognizant, very wet last week. No real issues and delays, but overnight soaked the course. And so players have been playing approaches to the number. And usually we'd see this type of play at the Genesis, at Farmers, a little more firm, having to play before the hole or in different parts of the green instead of taking a straight line at it. So playing out of the rough is going to hurt you here. You're going to have thick rough. You're going to have tough shots. This is going to be the first true test that Genesis would have been if it did not. If it did not rain so hard, get unseasonable rain. So, trying to read the past results here. Let's see, winners. Here we go. Yeah, so we've had numbers last 2 years. Henley chips in there at the end on 17. Electric finish, 11 under. Scotty runs away with it by 5 at 15 under. So next closest was 10. But years before that, Kitayama wins at 9 under. Scotty won before at 5 under. In a wind-soaked year, 11, 4, 12. Rory got to 18. Bryson chasing. So this course can show some teeth. And you're going to find better ball strikers are going to rise to the top. And of course, guys that can putt on Bermuda, gain some extra strokes, and not lose those on the green when you're getting fewer opportunities to score. Can't give away strokes either at this course. Obviously, entrenched with water. Have the famous par 5-4. Bryson took it over the top. Still never made eagle that week. Even though he won. This is just one of my favorite courses, one of my favorite tournaments. And I truly believe Scotty's going to win this week. I think the week off helped reset. There's just been too much good golf outside of Thursday that it's not bound on finding its level. And so this week we're going to stay away from betting Scotty outright. Got to prove it that Thursday thing is not a trend and is a coincidence. So we're going to bet the without Scotty market. I've got a couple guys that really popped into what I was looking for. You win here, like I said, ball striking, tee to green, par 4 scoring. That's where the playing field is leveled. So being consistent on the par 4s, bogey avoidance, birdie or better percentage, got to score, and then gaining fairways. This is not going to be a course where you're going to win from the rough this week. It's just not. It's too firm. You've got guys that have been consistently good that have had some inconsistent fairways, like Jake Knapp, like Scotty, like Højgaard's, who's going to be popular, Goddard, that have been less than positive off the tee, gaining fairways. So we'll have to watch them, but Scotty's closer than everyone else that I named there, and still's gaining in that fairway gain category and good drive percentage on my model. So I think Scotty wins, but I don't want 390 again. Wasted 5 units on solo Scotty last time. I think there's some opportunities to bet in his prop category that we'll talk about that we've been cleaning up on Scotty props that are one round can get you to where you need to be for plus 390. Why worry about 4 days? And you've got bets out there that are literally plus 700 cashing in one round, i.e., Pebble Beach, birdied all par fives, was plus 800 on the final day. Scotty cashed that. So, card is pulled up. Those watching on YouTube, those listening, let's read it off for them. Outright bets 3 this week without Scheffler market. I don't know how many states the score is in. That's old Barstool, old ESPN. The score bet has some decent odds without Scheffler, but if not, DK is your best odds without Scheffler. I've got Fleetwood 15-1. Si Woo 24-1. Just really striking the ball tremendously well this season. Putter just needs to get a little hot. Took the week off. Clearly his weakest aspect of his game so far this season. So I think putting is an aspect that he can fix in that time. And then Lowry. I see big things for Lowry. He just played 70 holes of really good golf last week. And 2 holes just ended his chance at winning, but still finished second. And he just plays so well in Florida. And he is a guy that I would expect to get off the mat from a shitty situation like that rather than wallow in any sort of pity, woe is me type attitude. Guy's too good. He's seen too many wins in his career, whether not on the PGA Tour, but whether it be majors, Ryder Cups, too many pressure situations he's seen that I expect him to bounce back. Got some place bets here, mostly between FanDuel and DK. I like Corey Connors this week. Corey Connors, his career at Bay Hill has been outstanding. Let me go ahead and pull that up. Sorry for the tape delay here. Where you at, Corey? His... Oh, boy. Need to shrink that screen. Finishes here. 3rd last year, T18, T21, T11, 3rd. His last 5 out at Bay Hill. He's got 1 cut in his last 6 events. Starting to pick up a little steam. T37 at Genesis. Guy that's consistent ball striker, can get hot with the putter. Like him in T20 if they're going to give me plus 220 odds. Rory, he just clicks in way too many categories this week. Genesis, fell asleep at the wheel on the front 9 on Sunday. Bridgman also did, but had enough to outlast Rory, who did make like a 40-footer to get tied for second there at the end. So not necessarily pressing him on the back 9. But I like Rory top 10. If I can get plus odds, plus 112 on DK. Got 2 units on Rory this week for top 10. You could ladder top 5 if you want. This could be the week. Maybe I'm just going to be able to clip myself at the end of the year. Say this every time they play. But this could be a dual forecast week, potentially Rory Scotty. You have to think they're going to finish 1-2 at some point this season with the shrunken fields, with how much better they are than everyone else when they are clicking. maybe this is the week. Maybe it'll make the Thursday morning card. Fleetwood, top 10. Just really like where his game's at. Really like where he lines up for Bay Hill. He also plays well here, even though he was cut in 2024. I believe that was a heavy weather year. T11 last year. He's got a T20, a T10, and a T3 in the last 6 years here. Not to mention his recent success, T7, T4, 25th, T3rd, 2nd, T11. Or I'm sorry, that was it. For recent success, pretty good. And then we're going to ride Højgaard again. Top 10, plus 450 on FanDuel. Just ran on neutral there in between, in the middle 2 rounds. He was tied for low round of the day on Sunday at Cognizant. Kid can fire on all cylinders, just on all 4 days. We need him to kind of be a little bit more level than the firing in neutral. Seems like he's like an electric car. He's using all his juice and stopping to charge on like Friday, Saturday to just rev it up and hit top speed on Sunday again. So I like Højgaard where his game's at. Miscellaneous bets, got a couple. Mentioned it earlier. Lowry bouncing back is something I'm not concerned about. 40-1 first round leader. Like it a lot. I think it's worth a stab. I think the field's too strong for him to hold off. However, I do see him competing this week, right back where he left off, and coming out and shutting down the embarrassing finish to last week. You could see that. If you can't, I don't think you're watching the same golf that we are. And then a surprisingly decent track record here. Keegan Bradley, first round leader, 53-1. T5 last year, T36, T10, T11, T10, T42, T46. He came out and he shot 63 at 64 at Genesis. It's right there. I think he was tied first round leader, and then just completely parked the bus. I like Keegan at 53, that number, first round leader. Scotty's wire to wire is like 90-1. Something insane. Like it doesn't even make sense. Like maybe first round and wire to wire Scotty Scheffler. Oh, I'm sorry. 22-1. Rory is 80-1, the next closest. That's preposterous. Lead after round 1 and win. Scotty's 14-1. Those odds are so disgusting. Now, if you want to talk me into like a Scotty Duke national championship or like a Scotty Michigan national championship, now we're talking. Too many variables for the round 1. And he's just not really a round 1 leader guy. He truly goes at his own pace. And that's how Tiger outlasted everyone. Literally committed to playing his own game, while others just might go for broke when they see pins that fit their eye for that particular round. So, last two, as always, last 2 weeks we have not been as fortunate. Woof. In the par 3, par 5 markets, haven't really been close. Par 3 markets have been dominated by whoever's won. Kind of just run away and hid. Par 5 has stayed steady. Nikolai Højgaard was in it for us last week until he wasn't. But this week, we're taking a favorite for the first time. Par 3, we're taking Scheffler. A lot of long iron par 3s. That is his bread and butter. 13-1 odds. Like I said, he wins par 3s. You just quadrupled his outright odds. I know there's dead heat possibilities. Whatever. You don't like my thinking behind it, don't bet it. These are only on DK, by the way, from what I've seen. And then Jason Day. He really pops in those yardage categories from strokes gain 175 to 225. Really, really pops on putting on Bermuda, uh, and bonus putting. So Day is worth a little shot at 45. And then par fives, we got Win Woo, one of the best par five scorers in the game. Win Woo Lee, 46-1, and Piercing Cootie. Great driver of the golf ball. Keep it in the fairway. That's what we're going to need on this course. I like Cootie to keep us alive into the weekend and have a shot at 45-1. So there's my Arnold card for the week bets. I do have some round bets that I'm going to pull up here on the show. Again, thank you for listening on Spotify, but I try and add the video to Spotify. Please check out the video on YouTube as well. Maybe if I share my damn screen, can we get it going? There we go. I've got some round bets that I really like. I'm not talking circular, talking first round. Obviously went over the first round leader bets that I like, but has DraftKings stepped up the game? Because up until last week, you were only able to get par 5 or birdie all par 5s on BetMGM, and you're only able to get like the 3 best players. DraftKings has the entire market here, folks. And these odds are juicy. I mean, we're talking Scotty at 16-1. Granted, these are not your walk in the park par 5s, and you got to birdie 4 holes in one day. These are not easy odds for a reason. But day one, the way the weather's shaped, winds down. I like Scotty. I like Rory. I like Xander, the top 3. And I like Højgaard in this market for day one. You can find that under round bets in DK and par 5 birdies. Bogey-free round is going to be difficult, but this is the week that you're going to see some bogey-free rounds, and everyone outside of Scotty is longer than 10-1. I like Si Woo day one. I could see Rory bogey-free day one. This is where Scotty has been firing some bogeys. So watch, he'll just come out and shoot 66 tomorrow. That is the player that he is. But Si Woo, Rory. Let's see. Bogey avoidance is huge. That's why we look at players like Matsuyama, but need him to figure out that driver. Kitayama is decent. So that's a great market as well. Round score. A lot of round scores hovering around par. Now, their unders are juiced to the gills. Wish there was a tiered betting number you could get, but we're still waiting on that. But now you can parlay the round scores. You weren't able to do that. So I did parlay a couple. They have Shane Lowry at 72.5. That's, if he shoots even, you cash. But he's minus 150 under. So I took Lowry. And they have McIlroy at 71.5. So I took Lowry and McIlroy under on their first round bets. Let's get to Rory here. Come on, Roars. Where the hell are you? There you are. And that's plus 170. Like to see a plus number. That's under round bets, first round bets. Scotty's at 70.5 is the lowest. But yeah, a lot of guys in here above par. You got guys that could shoot 1 over and still cash for you. Big guys like Victor Hovland. Burger only 72.5. That over seems nice. Is a late ad. Theo Bjornsson, a little erratic lately. Corey Connors under at, is that plus? No, minus 126. Yeah. They're just begging you to parlay these with all these juicy odds that they've gotten. So there's that. And then last thing, a couple bets that I did like in the bogey market. I liked Fleetwood's number that they gave me. I got plus odds yesterday. Still plus under 2.5. Tommy Fleetwood, bogeys or worse. That's plus 116. See Tommy getting through this course at a steadied pace. And the ball striker that he is, I just see him staying under that, giving away strokes. Then I also like Rory under 2.5 as well, which is plus 125. Like I said, I could see Rory going bogey free. If we have to spot him one, still get another plus money. Those are some of the side markets that I really like. You can now add group birdie numbers total in round one. This is one I would really like to take a look at in the twosomes that they're going off as. And you could get some of these laddered up to like plus 700. So be interesting scouring Twitter today to see if anyone's got a solid key in on that market. That was probably the longest we've spent on a golf tournament so far, but I'd say it's the biggest one of the year so far, in my opinion. And we've got one more that I mentioned at the top of the hour. This one will be quick. We'll just go through the card. Puerto Rico Open. Bad Bunny. Home base. Nice little field here. A lot of young bucks up and coming. Blades Brown, Miles Russell, John Daly II. His first PGA event. Misses cut in his first Korn Ferry event. Doesn't matter. This is a nice little sponsor's exemption. Get some eyes on that. Haotong Lee, Davis Thompson. You got Rasmus Højgaard. We've got Rasmus Niergaard Peterson as well. Haotong Lee. A lot of big names here if you follow golf, I should say. Because a lot of those people could also just went right over your head. However, these odds still pay like golf odds. There's no without Scheffler in these odds. But we did go each way. First to third place pays out 1 to 5 on your second bet. Who else is in there? We're missing Bezadenhout, former Ryder Cupper. And then I'd say my first bet looks like second on the card, Seamus Power. These are all bets on Bet365. If you don't have that in your area, take them on DK. You're going to get a little less odds, but you're going to have to pay up a little less juice. 1 unit instead of 2. Seamus Power. The field's in his advantage. He's been playing good golf. Hasn't played here often because he's usually on the main event, not the secondary. So like Seamus here in his form. Chad Ramey, course horse. He's played the Puerto Rico Open very well. Very, very well. And so we'll ride Ramey 50 to 1. Eckroat, another player that doesn't come to Puerto Rico very often, but obviously can win in regular events. Ben Coles, great course horse, great form. Ben Coles may be my favorite bet of this outright And then Adam Hadwin. Canadian trying to find his game. Wouldn't expect him to be in the secondary market, but here he is, continuing to find his game. This would be a type of event you could see a player of his pedigree just coming into and just winning to completely reset his career, get back on the tour regularly. We're getting him at 100-1. Yes, please. Yes, please. Couple place bets. Nearguard Peterson. Dude's a gamer. Give me top 10 plus 230. Michael Brennan. Little iffy about this one. Everyone and their mama's on Michael Brennan this week. Usually when all of Twitter, and that would be Fitzpatrick for the Arnold Palmer as well. So buyer beware. But Ryan Fitzpatrick, Michael Brennan are going to be high owned, highly bet. Usually stay away, but his game is good, so he could win potentially. Marty Doe, another good form, another great course shape, plus 375, top 10. And then Patrick Fishburne. His game just matches up really well for our model. And top 20, you're giving me plus 300. I'll take it. Last three bets, Bryce Garnett, absolutely dog shit. Recent form. No sugarcoating it. But goddamn, does this guy love Puerto Rico. One of the only former champions of this event in the field. So sometimes you just need to go home. He's not from Puerto Rico, but plays like he is. And come out swinging. Bryce Garnett easily could be a guy you see first round leader Thursday, 80-1. And then a couple matchup bets for the tournament. I like Ewart over Ford. Ford, a big-time prospect. You know, Ewart's also extremely young and up and coming, but Ford just has more pedigree. I just like where Ewart's game's at right now. And you're giving me basically even odds, minus 102. I'll take him this week. Marty Doe, minus 112 over Chris Ventura are my other bets. So right around 8.5 units on the Puerto Rico Open. You're definitely going to get less coverage for sure. But imagine just following my outrights. And if you look over to the left there, folks, we've got 3 outrights, 60, 45, 51, that have cashed already this season. And you just logging in Sunday night and seeing another 50 or 1 or longer cashing for you this week. That's what makes it all sweet. That's your Puerto Rico Open. That's your wagers on weekdays for March 4th, 2026. Next week, we'll be talking players big time. I've got a guest lined up as well. So we'll be talking more NFL. I'll try and get a Monday show out so we can get our King of the Court out. Paolo hit again this week. Too many people hopped on, though. He only paid out $218 this week. When last week, obviously, at the end of our show, I slipped in there. We got a $810 King of the Court hit. So, unfortunately, those expired yesterday. So, I had to get in all my bets yesterday and all my free plays in $50 forms. So, that was hectic. But, hey, $810 of free bets is a good problem to have. So, we'll have some King of the Court action for you. Maybe we'll do 2 foursomes next week. Maybe NFL. Break it up. Offense, defense. Could be good. Maybe a comedy one in the NFL and then go to the secondary NFL. Who knows? More categories from you. Would love to hear. Just under an hour. Thanks for tuning in every week. We will be back hopefully on Monday. If not, same time Wednesday. I will see you all then. Best of luck, Arnold Palmer in Puerto Rico. Let's go, Scotty. And let's go, Shane, on Thursday. Same with Bryce Garnett. All right. See you guys. Love you. Bye.